The cameras flashed, the crowd froze. It's October 2023, the London premiere of the Beckham documentary.
Right.
And to the naked eye, it's British royalty. David, Victoria, the kids all lined up in this, like, perfect glossy row.
But if you were there, or if you zoomed in on the footage later, like millions of us did, the tension was it was physical.
Oh, completely. You see David and Victoria posing, smiles just locked in place, eyes forward.
And then off to the side, you see Brooklyn reaching out, literally pulling a hesitant Nicola Peltz into the frame.
And Victoria's reaction, I mean, that's what body language experts talked about for months.
Oh, yeah. She's standing diagonally. Her back is basically turned to them. She won't make eye contact. It was a masterclass in the cold shoulder. The air was so thick you could cut it with a knife.
At the time, the PR machine told us, it was just nerves or bad timing, maybe a weird camera angle. The public saw a united front. But behind the flashing lights, the cracks weren't just forming. They were already canyons. And now, the dam has finally broken. Welcome to StarScope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we are looking at a story that has just completely dominated the headlines this week. We are talking about the Beckham War.
Yeah.
And we are just looking at the tabloids today. We are diving into something that has evolved into, the potential collapse of a billion-dollar family brand.
Honestly, war might be an understatement. We're talking on an 800-word manifesto, allegations of bribery, intellectual property.
And some truly, truly inappropriate dancing. I still can't get over that part.
I know. But first, let's start with the nuclear option. Monday, January 19, 2026, the day the internet broke.
That's right. 26-year-old Brooklyn Peltz Beckham finally broke his silence. For years, we've heard rumors, whispered sources, insiders claiming tension. But on Monday, Brooklyn posted a 6-slide statement on his Instagram stories that just dismantled the brand Beckham image. The headline here is just unequivocal. I do not want to reconcile.
That is heavy. Usually when you see these celebrity families feuding, you get the notes app apology or like a vague, we ask for privacy statement. You don't get, I don't want to see you again. It felt incredibly final.
Completely final.
Yeah.
Brooklyn claims he's been silent for years, but was forced to speak out because his parents and their team kept planting lies in the press to, and I'm quoting, ruin his relationship with his wife, Nicola.
And the language he uses is just fascinating. He accuses his parents of prioritizing brand Beckham over family love.
Yeah.
He explicitly calls their public life full of performative social media posts and inauthentic relationships.
Ouch. That phrase, performative social media, that has to sting. That is hitting them right in the meticulously curated Instagram feed. It's basically saying everything you see is a lie.
It creates a massive authenticity crisis for them. But there was one line that really stood out to me as like the core of his whole argument. He wrote, "I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life."
And that feels like a direct shot at everyone saying Nicola's the one pulling the strings.
Totally. The narrative for the last 4 years has been that Brooklyn is this, hapless guy, and Nicola is the mastermind behind it all.
It's him reclaiming his agency. He's telling the world, no, I am making these choices. And the fallout was immediate.
So what happened?
Nicola Peltz scrubbed her Instagram of all Beckham photos, even those old birthday tributes to Victoria. Gone.
Scrubbed, like completely deleted.
Wiped clean. It's the digital equivalent of burning the photo albums on the front lawn.
Wow. Usually celebrity families try to hide these rifts. They smile through the holidays, maybe post a generic photo. They don't broadcast it in a 6-part essay.
Well, the timing here is so important. This comes right after those rumors in December 2025, so just last month, that Brooklyn had blocked his entire family on social media.
I remember that. His brother Cruz posted about it, right? So they woke up blocked.
Exactly. So this statement is basically Brooklyn explaining why he hit that block button.
And if you think a text post is dramatic, just wait until we get to the wedding reception. Allegations of inappropriate dancing are coming up, and trust me, it is not what you think.
Oh, it gets so much worse.
Yeah.
But let's rewind to the event that seems to be ground zero for this entire explosion. The wedding.
Yes. April 2022, Palm Beach. A $76 million estate. 500 guests. It was supposed to be the wedding of the century.
And according to Brooklyn's new statement, it was the beginning of the end. The headline here is essentially, "My mom hijacked my wedding."
Okay.
And there are two main parts to this allegation, the dress and the dance.
Let's start with the dress, because this has been fueling the rumor mill for years. Everyone has a theory about the dress.
Right, so in his statement, Brooklyn claims that Victoria canceled making Nicola's wedding dress at the 11th hour. He says Nicola was so excited to wear her design, but then Victoria just pulled the plug, forcing her to urgently find a new gown.
Which sounds like an absolute nightmare for any bride. You're weeks away from the biggest day of your life. Paparazzi helicopters are probably circling, and you have nothing to wear.
However, and this is where we have to look at the sources critically, this 11th hour claim has a major contradiction when you check the historical record.
Oh, what did you find?
Back in 2022, right after the wedding, Nicola and her stylist gave this super detailed interview to Vogue.
Okay.
And in that interview, they detailed how the custom Valentino dress Nicola ended up wearing took a full year of planning. We're talking 2 trips to Rome, sketches, fabric selection, fittings, a whole year.
Wait, hold on a second. If the Valentino dress took a year to make, how could Victoria have canceled at the 11th hour? You can't just, whip up a custom Valentino couture gown in a week.
Precisely. That is the discrepancy. It's possible 11th hour means something different to them, maybe 6 months out, or maybe the Valentino dress was always a plan B they had to activate. But the timelines just don't add up.
It suggests that either Brooklyn's memory of the event is, colored by emotion, or that the Vogue interview was a cover-up at the time.
Exactly.
It is fascinating. It's like, who do you believe, the Angry Sun or the Vogue archive? But let's move on to the dance, because this I just can't wrap my head around.
This is maybe the most visceral allegation in the entire manifesto. Brooklyn alleges that Victoria hijacked their first dance.
Okay, so what was supposed to happen?
The plan was for Brooklyn and Nicola to dance to a romantic love song performed live by Mark Anthony. A classic moment, the spotlight, the couple, the romance, just them.
Right.
Instead, Brooklyn claims Mark Anthony called Victoria to the stage, announcing her as the most beautiful woman in the room.
Oh.
And instead of the bride and groom dancing, it was mother and son.
That is bold. I mean, even for a celebrity wedding.
It gets more specific. Brooklyn wrote that Victoria danced very inappropriately on him in front of everyone. He said he had never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated.
That is the ultimate mother-in-law from hell moment. Grinding on your son at his own wedding in front of 500 people.
I know.
I'm getting secondhand embarrassment just hearing about it. Imagine being the bride, standing on the sidelines, watching your husband dance with his mom to your song.
And apparently, Nicola did exactly what you'd expect. Reports say she ran out of the room crying. It completely shattered the celebration for them.
I can't even imagine. It's supposed to be your big moment, and suddenly you're sidelined. It really paints a picture of a mother who just cannot stand to not be the center of attention.
And there was another smaller but very telling detail about the seating plan. Brooklyn claims Victoria called him evil.
Evil. That's a strong word for a seating chart dispute. Usually you get called difficult or stubborn, but evil.
Apparently, Brooklyn and Nicola chose to seat their widowed grandmothers at the main table because they didn't have husbands attending.
Oh, that's sweet.
It was a gesture of respect and inclusion. He put the parents, David, Victoria, and the Peltzes at adjacent tables.
Yeah.
And Victoria reportedly took massive offense to not being at the head table and lashed out.
She called him evil for sitting his grandma at the head table. That feels like a villain origin story.
It's a lot.
Okay, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, and frankly, who isn't shocked by this? Make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead on StarScope Report.
And we have to pivot now because while the emotional drama is high, there is a corporate layer to this that is arguably even more damaging.
Right. We're calling this segment the corporate takeover. Because in this family, it's not just about feelings, it's about finances.
The headline here involves bribes, name rights, and bizarrely, a roast chicken.
I have been dying to talk about the roast chicken. It's my favorite detail of this entire saga. But first, the bribes.
So Brooklyn alleges that this wasn't just about emotional control. He claims his parents pressured and attempted to bribe him into signing away the rights to his name weeks before the wedding.
Signing away his name? You mean like Brooklyn Beckham, the trademark?
Exactly. You have to understand the business of brand Beckham. It's a global enterprise. He's implying they wanted to lock down the intellectual property of his name before he got married, presumably to protect the brand's assets from being diluted or controlled by the Peltz family.
Right, because Nicola's father is a billionaire investor. There was probably a fear that the Peltz business machine would just absorb the Beckham name.
That seems to be the implication. They tried to get him to sign a contract saying, essentially, we own your name.
Did you sign it?
He refused. And he claims his refusal affected the payday and changed how they treated him forever. He says they were just adamant he signed before the wedding.
It really reinforces that idea of the family as a business unit. You're not just a son, you're an asset. And if the asset tries to go independent, you cut the funding.
Which leads us to the legal escalation. This is where it goes from family spat to legal war. In January 2026, just before this Instagram explosion, reports surfaced that Brooklyn sent a cease and desist letter to his parents.
A cease and desist to your own mom and dad. That is just cold.
And look at the firms involved. This wasn't a friendly note. It was from his lawyers at Schillings, a very aggressive UK firm known for this stuff, to their lawyers at Harbottle and Lewis. The demand was simple. Only contact him via counsel. No texts, no calls.
Imagine needing a lawyer just to talk to your dad.
And this is where the roast chicken comes in.
Finally. Please explain the chicken.
The trigger for this legal action, or at least the final straw that broke the camel's back, was a roast chicken.
Okay.
Brooklyn posted a video on Instagram of himself cooking a roast chicken.
Okay.
And Victoria liked the post.
She liked the post. That's it.
Brooklyn viewed that as a breach of the no-contact boundary he had set. He saw it as a performative gesture, pretending to be supportive in public while ignoring his request for space privately.
That is, I mean, on one hand, it's hilarious, a family destroyed over a like on a cooking video. But on the other, it's tragic. It shows the trust is so gone that even a digital heart is seen as an act of aggression.
It's the weaponization of social media. In the Beckham world, a like isn't just a like, it's a PR move. It signals to the public, look, we're fine, we support his cooking. When behind the scenes, lawyers are drafting letters.
It's gaslighting by algorithm. I'll support you in public where everyone can see, but I won't respect your boundaries in private.
Precisely. It's all about controlling the narrative.
Later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twists regarding who Brooklyn blames for his anxiety and the very, very cold response from his father. You are not going to want to miss that.
So we have the manifesto, the wedding disaster, and the legal threats. Now let's look at the aftermaths. We're calling this segment The Cold War Goes Global.
Because you can't just drop a bomb like this and expect silence.
And the response, or really the lack thereof, is so telling. Let's look at David Beckham. On Tuesday, January 20th, the day after Brooklyn's post, David was at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Rubbing elbows with the global elite while his family burns down on Instagram. That is quite the juxtaposition.
He was asked about the allegations. He didn't address them directly. Instead, he gave this really polished corporate answer. He said, and I quote, "Children make mistakes. You have to sometimes let them make those mistakes."
Mistakes. Wow, he's calling his 26-year-old son's cry for help a mistake. That feels so dismissive.
It's classic crisis management. He's infantilizing Brooklyn. By calling it a mistake, he frames Brooklyn as an erratic child acting out, not an adult with valid grievances. It protects the brand by making Brooklyn look unstable.
It says to the shareholders and the public, don't worry, the kid is just having a tantrum. The business is stable. So cold.
Yeah.
Let them make mistakes. It sounds like he's talking about a toddler spilling juice, not his son cutting him off. What about Victoria? Is she still dancing?
Sources say she's devastated privately, but publicly, she's preparing a legal response. And the goal, to protect the brand and the business.
There it is again. The brand. It always comes back to the brand.
Which ties directly into Brooklyn's comments on his mental health. He claims he grew up with overwhelming anxiety caused by his parents' control. He says that since stepping away, that anxiety has disappeared.
And he specifically said the narrative that Nicola controls him is backwards.
Exactly. Which is a huge statement. Because for years, the tabloids have painted Nicola as the villain, the Yoko Ono breaking up the band.
But he's saying, no, she's the one who helped me escape.
He also threw in another really damaging allegation, what some are calling the X-Files.
This one gave me the creeps.
Brooklyn accused Victoria of repeatedly inviting his ex-girlfriends to events and family gatherings, specifically to make Nicola uncomfortable.
That is high school mean girl behavior. But coming from your mother-in-law, that is calculated psychological warfare. Imagine showing up to Thanksgiving and your husband's ex is there because his mom invited her.
It fits the pattern he describes, disrespecting his marriage to maintain control. It sends a message to Nicola that's like, you are replaceable. We preferred the other one.
It's just brutal. If you're just joining us, make sure to stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. We're breaking down the biggest celebrity feud of the decade.
So let's look at the big picture here. What do we actually have?
We have a complete estrangement. Brooklyn wants zero contact, the parents are lawyering up, and the brand Beckham facade, that image of the perfect, tight-knit British family, hasn't just cracked, it's shattered into a million pieces.
It really raises a fascinating question about the nature of truth in the age of curated fame.
Hmm.
On one hand, you have Brooklyn's raw, emotional, messy story.
Right.
And on the other, you have the polished, silences golden machinery of David and Victoria.
And the contradictions. The dress timeline, the seating chart, the roast chicken, it's all a mess.
So I want you, the listener, to consider this. Is Brooklyn an unreliable narrator? Maybe confused about the timeline of a dress because of his own trauma? Or is he a victim of a corporate machine that values likes and endorsements over the mental health of its own children?
Or can you be both? Can you be messy and a victim?
I think absolutely. When you're raised as a prop in a brand, breaking free is never going to be clean. It's usually explosive.
Well, one thing is for sure, Thanksgiving at the Beckhams is going to be very, very quiet this year.
Or very loud, if the lawyers are invited.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.